text is aligned with other text, but the final version of text is aligned with other text, like here. So yeah, and then for takeaways, I didn't just want to like explain my design, but the team culture as well. My team didn't just get things done, but like we play games together and we build up this team spirit. So I wanted to like include that in my case study because that was definitely like one of my highlights. So this is just a picture of like screenshot when we were playing games. For final designs, I added like GIFs for a couple flows to show as like a final design. So that's my case study. So resume, after Liz gave a lesson, I created a couple of iterations, trying different like layouts, different fonts, and also like trying different colors to see what color I like. And then I ended up using this one. And then for my, sorry, this is, I don't know how to move this. So my portfolio, this is my original design. So you can see like the images doesn't have like a background color, but Lisa and Liz gave me a good feedback that probably I should get add the background color so that the thumbnail image will stand out more. So a couple of changes that I made are adding background color and also adding the view case study link to make it more intuitive that people can click. So you can see like I added some colors, try different like layout, like using like big card style, vivid colors, pastel colors. Liz actually created some of the iterations, and that was really helpful because I was able to get some inspiration and new ideas. Yeah, so that's my portfolio, and I can show you my new, not my new, my live portfolio. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, so for a personal touch, I decided to add this like animation, like flowers, the flowers that I love. I don't know if you, so this is just, I wanted to do this for fun, this animation. So I have like a main UVP here. It's pretty normal, so I have to work on that. And then I have like a second UVP here, and then two case studies, so you can click. And then my case study. So I try to make the content width really narrow so that it's like, easier to read. I think it's like 60 width. So here you can see all my stuff. And then at the end, I added the GIFs for a couple flows. And then if you next, case study really easy. So these are the things that you have. And then at the end, you can see, well, you can see the GIFs. I decided to use GIFs to show my final designs. And this is also responsive, so you can probably just like go like this, and it's all like responsive. And then if you want to see my about page, it shows my picture and about myself. And if you click resume, it goes to the new tab. It shows my resume. Yeah, so I think that's all. As a conclusion, I learned a lot during IS. Yeah, I really enjoyed every lesson Lisa and Liz gave and applying what I learned to my work. Another thing I learned was don't be afraid to just show my work and ask for feedback because whenever I get feedback, like it broadens my perspective and give me some new ideas. Yes, I'm very thankful to them and also my TL and my small group. Yeah, so that's all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Yuka. Well, we talk like every day, so you already know most of the stuff, but I think you just take feedback so well and like implement it really quickly, which is really awesome. Like, even though you are coming from these sort of processes that can be like complicated and complex, like you do a really good job, like just you have a knack for like organizing information like very concisely and visually. And I love how you took us through like every step of the process, even though it was like a long and complicated process, and like you just like dialed it down to like the most important parts, which I really like. I also like that you included stories about your team dynamic and like what you did together, because I think something that's really important for especially like a design role, like just being able to like work with other people and like being collaborative and like friendly with like other designers and like other types of people. So it's like really awesome that you were able to like build rapport there. I also really liked how you explored like a ton of different iterations and like a ton of different ideas before you like came into your final idea, because it's like super important in design. I just like your knack for experimentation. Like I think you just like to experiment and explore a lot, which is like super important. That's something like you can kind of lose along the way because you just get like jaded, but like that's something that like you should definitely keep going forward. And I love the little animation that you made. I think it like really just adds a pop to your portfolio, and I feel really good about it. So I hope you feel really good about it as well.
Thank you, Lisa.
Cool. Okay, so we can leave some more feedback for Yuka in the UX IS Presentations Slack channel. So I created a thread for her. Feel free to leave some more feedback. Yes, thank you so much, Yuka. Okay, let's see. Is everyone here now? Okay, cool. So let's move forward. Peter, are you here? Peter? Okay, well, he's here. Okay, maybe we can come back to him. Okay. Let's see. Martin, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can go.
Usually when I do this exercise, I have students.
I had a video playing.
Okay, I was like, is Elizabeth here? That's weird.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna start a thread for Martin, and you have like 7 minutes to present, and then 2 minutes feedback.
Okay. Then I'll start with my first project with Lambda was Foudreau, and this was only the 4th week, so considering how early it was, I don't think it was awful, but I've definitely learned a lot since then. But I mean, I didn't come up with any of the styling here. This was all given to us. So I mean, this was my first landing page, though. I can show my portfolio. I'd been waffling around trying to decide whether to do something custom or go with one of these template options. I was considering Webflow for a while, but I started with UXfolio because it was just easier just to hop in and get started. So, and then I just built on that. And then at the beginning of this week, I sprung and ended up signing up for the premium version so I could add more details and case studies. And at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with it. So I just have a short, snappy description here. I talked with my mentor, and originally I had my title as UX researcher and product designer. He recommended, though, that I stick to one just because it would be more clear to hiring managers. And then I have 3 case studies here. I have my labs project, I have my build week project, and then I have the project we worked on as a group for a nonprofit in Bahrain. Before I go into one of those, I'll show you my about page. I have a picture here of me in northern Wisconsin that I think does a good job of um, showing where I come from. So I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. Uh, there's a little more background about me, some of my interests, what sets me apart, and what I can do. I talk about my design philosophy. Uh, and then at the end, I have a few books that I've read recently. So I think that gives a little more insight into what kind of person I am. My resume, I'm still working on. So I don't have anything to show there. I just have the old one from October, something like that, which looks like it's not loading, but whatever. So I can go into my most recent project for labs. Hopefully. Yeah, so here we go. UXfolio makes it easy. I didn't have to do any coding. The biggest problem here is just formatting. I pretty much had to go in and adjust the pixels between each of the sections and all that. Here I have the desktop landing page. This was working with one of the UX designer, just to remind everyone. And another thing I like about UXfolio is you can go into different sections. So I know I'm probably already running out of time, but here, this is the solution. Something I learned is how to make mockups. I had never really done that before, so I was really happy to finally learn how to do that. I have a few GIFs. This was the loading screen, a comparison for desktop search results, the filter in action, the same filter on desktop. I wanted to show that I could do mobile and desktop. And then just talking about how I solved the problem and like a wrap up. So the final product came pretty close to what I designed. And then, yeah, so I've done similar work for the other ones. And yeah, I'm really proud of what I've done here. It wasn't easy, but I just learned so much about how to present your work and express what you accomplished.
Cool. Thanks, Martin. Awesome. Well, first of all, the UXfolio stuff looks really good. I haven't used it before, so I wasn't really like aware of how the interface would look, but it looks great, and I think you did a really good job with it. Also, like, I think you just made such good progress from the beginning, like the beginning one that you showed where you were like 4 weeks in until now, like you made so much visual progress, and that's like really awesome to see. Like even in just an independent study, like over 4 weeks, you just made like so much visual progress, which is really great. you are like really good at thinking through your process. So like even in your case studies, it really shows that you like think about things in a very detailed and like deep way, which is really great. Your like, yeah, like your process is very detailed, which is great because like you have really good documentation skills. I think like what a lot of us like tend to do is just like do the whole thing and then just like kind of forget about what happened. So like obviously you don't do that, which is really good. Your images, your screenshots also look way better than they were in the beginning. So congrats and great job. Yeah, because we all want to see your awesome work. So keep it up.
Thanks,
Oh, I was on
Lisa.
mute. Okay, sorry. Yes, okay, we have a thread, so feel free to leave more comments. And I was told that Peter was having some audio issues today, so I'm gonna try again. Peter, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? I figured it out. I think I probably just have to reset my computer altogether. Like
Okay,
sometimes it yeah, sometimes it's working and sometimes it doesn't work. So
yeah, yeah. All right, you wanna present it?
I think it's acting up again. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's like okay. Yeah, so let me just present what I have. Kind of like what all right, so I just gonna just 1 second. So I decided to go with the route of just coding up my portfolio, and it's definitely been a challenge for me, more than I anticipated. So this is pretty much what I have so far. I haven't added the functionality for the JavaScript on this right here, just to prompt people to scroll down. But this is pretty much what I have for like my case studies. And this was clickable at one point, but once I added like the anchor tag, it just started getting a little bit janky. So there's a lot of things that I did not like, factor in. But so far, it looks like how I wanted to. But I think one of the issues that I have is like kind of like an alignment issue right now with the next one. So once you're supposed to like click into any one of these like click into this one, I guess it goes into this case study. But the thing is that one thing I'm realizing is that the consistency is a little bit off with the alignment of the menu. So if you can see like how it just jumps. So I'm having that issue right now, and I'm trying to figure out if I need to just build out like a different grid, or I know why it's doing that. I just don't know how to like fix the problem. And I know it's just because of this alignment, because they both have like the same attributes as far as like the menu goes, the side nav goes, but it's just being weird. So I do have the layout for the case study. I do have the whole layout. It's in my XD. I just haven't coded it yet. That's not like a big issue for me. The biggest thing right now is just trying to get the alignment in order so I can just put all of this stuff in for the case study. And it'll be structured based off of most of the feedback. It'll be structured. I got some good feedback from Lisa and just from a lot of people when I did show it and present it. So I will take all of that into account and just make some adjustments on it. But right now I just kind of just need the alignment and like the consistency for the portfolio to be fixed before I jump into the next phase of actually just putting it in. And I went on Canva and I just created a simple resume real quick. And so it's not bad. It's pretty basic. I like it though. It's very simple. And so I just chose like this dark blue and then just laid it out. That's it. I did hear that people say it should just be like 1 page or 1 to 2 pages. I don't know. So should I just take all this stuff out and then leave it to 1 page, or is 2 pages okay? 1 page, okay. So I'll make those adjustments and I will change this right here. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have right now to show.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Peter. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I think you did a really great job with your portfolio. I really like that, like, you weren't intimidated by this huge task of like coding your own thing, and I think that's super awesome. I also think that like it's really valuable how you like continuously want to improve your work and like notice things in your work. Like I think what happens like to a lot of people, including myself, is that when you're only looking at your own work like over and over again, like you just forget how to be critical of it because you've been looking at it for so long, and like that doesn't happen to you, which is like a really valuable and useful skill. So that's like, you should feel really good about that. Also, what was I gonna say? Your process is really iterative, which is good. I think you just like make a lot of changes like really quickly, which is great. And I think your portfolio just looks really clean now, and like I think you did a really good job with it. So great job.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. All right. So there's a thread for Peter, and let's keep moving. Who's here? Nilpa.
Hey everyone. So I kind of took a different route, and I hope it's not too off the wall. I got stuck in a rut this month on my first case study presentation. It just wasn't falling into place. So I got feedback this week, and what I got from two different people was that I need to really focus on my storytelling. So I thought I'd make this presentation an exercise in telling two stories, one a short story that's familiar to everyone, and the other is like basically the start of a longer one, which is my labs project. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. I'm still slow at this after all this time. Okay, share. Okay. So yeah, I hope this isn't too weird, but you guys are only allowed to give positive feedback, so that's good for me. Let's see. So for everyone here, this color scheme means one thing and one thing only. This, or at least for everyone who was in UX 6, this is a story of Food Row, our very first class project, and it's kind of a walk down memory lane. Hopefully it's a little bit amusing for everyone to remember all this stuff. So when we started Food Row, we'd vaguely heard of sitemaps and personas, and we dabbled a little bit in colors and type. So for this project, we were given all these things and some content additionally, and we were going to design our very first web app. We tried to incorporate our 5 Gestalt principles. Some of us did that overzealously, I would say, looking back at this. We took our first stab at visual hierarchy. For a lot of us, it was a crash course in Sketch, a week of crash course, and we ignored all of the rules of internet safety and downloaded every plugin from God knows where to try to accomplish whatever we needed to accomplish. You can see this is just a tiny corner of one of my screens, and I use tiny faces, spell check, unsplash, icon drop, design system manager. We kind of beat forms and error states to death, at least I did. It felt like a pro after that. Got just vast amounts of pleasure in making these tiny little interactions, things expanding and liking things. And again, some of us learned some things the hard way at that last hour, realizing that, oh, phone screens don't have hover states, and I have to redesign all of these artboards for no hover states. And I may not have completely understood responsive design, but I sure did try. It was a monster trying to squeeze or trying to extend everything from this little from one scale to another. But all in all, I got some good reviews, and understandably they weren't all that deep, but they were still positive, and I was super encouraged after that project. even though it was lots and lots of hours spent. So 6 months later, working on key conservation, this was our labs project, or my labs project. This was a little bit more of a serious app. Key conservation gives individuals the ability to boost biodiversity locally and in real time in partnership with local organizations. So as we know, most of us, that is biodiversity in 2020 has decreased, and it's continuing to decrease. And scientists question the ability of ecosystems to support human societies for 58% of Earth's land surface. That means health, resilience, clean resources. It's all going down at a pretty fast pace. On the bright side, 3.5 billion people have smartphones. And that doesn't sound, that sounds kind of silly to compare the two, but here's how that matters. So as species and habitats might be in peril, you know, they were once abundant and now things are drying up. We have drought, we have climate change, all kinds of things going on with the environment. While that's happening, in the past, ecologists were the only ones who could really act. And today, with the power of smartphones in 3.5 billion people's pockets, there are 3.5 billion individuals who can educate themselves and take action. And so that's where key conservation comes in. They are trying to create an app that basically connects those individuals and conservationists. But getting those conservationists, those organizations on board to this app is going to be absolutely crucial. Basically need to provide a red carpet for them because they're so stretched. They have websites to keep up with. They have their Instagram feeds. They have they have the Twitter feeds. And so getting people on board or getting organizations on board, something like that, it better be a really, really dialed in process. And that is where our team came in. And this is a placeholder for our Zoom screenshot, which I never took, but I'll probably coax Dylan into taking a screenshot with me. So that's where our team comes in. We were a team of 2 UX designers and 7 developers, and we were fully distributed internationally. We worked with the director of key conservation, Megan Cromp, and our audience was, as I mentioned, organizations and individuals. And then this part is kind of more of an outline. I haven't finished the presentation yet, but that's my original presentation was super dry and very detailed. So what the rest of this is I show how we basically mapped out their current process, which they didn't really have a process, but we just wanted to show them how they were asking people to go into 4 different environments to get on board. And that was really complicated. And it had, you know, at least 4 different pain points. And then what does that actually look like? And then I would really quickly step through all of the different environments that an organization has to go through with a wait period in between to finally get here, which is still not in the app. It's still a form that they have to fill out. And then I would compare it to kind of a Rube Goldberg machine, the self-operating napkin with a whole big contraption of things, and then bring it back to the red carpet of our solution. So, and then just to tie it in with the previous part, these are a little bit more substantial comments that we got. A lot of them were from the app testers. So that's it. That's my presentation. That's my attempt at telling a story better.
Cool. Thanks, Nilpa. I love the feedback that you included there. I think I like the key lime pie pictures. Very valuable feedback and extremely valid. So, well, I really like the way that you structured your presentation because I like that you, well, I just love the storytelling approach because like you identified that as like something that you could work on, which is really cool because storytelling is really, really important in design. I honestly feel like it's like 90% of the job. So that's really great that like you want to work on that and you did a really good job. And I really enjoyed how you went through like your triumphs and tribulations and like your design journey thus far. You are a really great speaker, which is definitely something that you should like keep cultivating and working on, because like everything you say is like really clear and easy to understand, which I love. And you also like on all of your projects, you do like a really great job just providing context and background into the problem that you're solving, so people can like follow your story really well. So I think you are doing really great on that front, and storytelling is definitely something that you're improving at. So great job.
Thank you.
All right, there's also a thread for Nilpa. No, I'm just going back to the order here. Okay, Dylan.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, I have to follow Nopa's, which is way more prepared than mine is.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's very freestyled. So yeah. First things first, I also wanted to go back to Fudro, which seems to be the theme today. Our lovely Fudro project. 1 second here. So I actually I thought my Fudro wasn't horrible, and when I did it, I was super stoked about it. But looking back, there are just a ton of spacing issues, different icons, a lot of stuff that was just all over the place, and mobile was even worse. But I think Nopa worded it perfectly, where a lot of it was a crash course on Sketch. So I think the hardest part for Fudro with me, and that probably the worst part, was just my organization of groups and everything. Like I just have things that are intertwined with one another. So if you click on the wrong hero image and try to drag it, like it'll drag words from like 4 other screens. And I haven't dived back into that one yet because it's too disorganized to even try. But that was mainly my big issue with Fudro. I'm trying to find the mobile. Yeah, here we go. The mobile ones. I have to say overall, this was probably I liked this more than I think the Build Week project. Just probably because it was a little less chaotic. So yeah, so with that, I will jump to my Figma file. I have, so I'm using Semplist right now for my portfolio, which has been kind of a beast to figure out, more than I expected it to be for sure. But I'm finally getting used to it. I'm getting on it, but it's kind of having issues today. So I'll just share my Figma boards to better demonstrate my portfolio. All right. So this is where I started, and this was the first. We had like a portfolio lesson previous to labs, so this is kind of what I came up at that point. I liked it a lot then, and as I went more into it here, I didn't like certain aspects of it. Like I didn't like the scroll here because it felt like an unnecessary step that users would have to take. The color scheme was kind of weird. So there's these little things, but the more I stared at it, the more I decided I wasn't at all satisfied with it. The about page, I liked, it was pretty easy, clean. But the story here wasn't like anything about me. It was very focused on just like how I approach design. And the more I looked at a lot of designers I liked in their portfolios, I saw it was more personal for them. Like the about page was a place to have fun. So I eventually decided, oh yeah, here's my case study too. This is a real mess. So the case study right away was just huge and unnecessarily huge. I'm a little sad about all the work I put into it because a lot of this app I just redid over the past couple weeks, like basically the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to go over it a whole nother time. The mobile version here is even worse. It's so long. So now my current version is kind of where I'm in the direction of, and I actually have a little more than this up on Simplease, but it's not, the preview isn't showing correctly, so I thought it'd be better to show here. So yeah, I'm polar opposite, keeping it super simple, very straightforward. I have the social links on top, which I thought was kind of cool because it just makes it easy to access right away. yeah, just easy. You scroll down, you find the case study, you click on it. We'll say hello, so you can link to my email. And the about page, I tried to make a lot more personable as well. So I brought into a little bit of my relationship with UX and who I am outside of UX, because I think that's kind of, or I've come to the conclusion that's kind of important. Personality type was something I included recently. I thought that'd be kind of a cool addition. And then this here is kind of going to be a collage of photos. So like it can be photos of me, but also just like quotes that I like. And I thought it was a quick way to kind of express like a lot of things at once. And if you can't do it on your about section, I don't know where you can do it. So yeah, the route I'm going is really simple. You know, I talked to a lot of people, and it felt like the common theme was that you can do really well if you go in your own direction and really get, you know, heavy with UI and a lot of colors and things like that, if that's really what you feel. But you can harm yourself if the opinion of the hiring manager isn't really into your exact style. Whereas keeping it simple, clean, grid systems, I think is just like, it's an easy, straightforward way to like demonstrate UX. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I do have most of this up on Simplease, so this isn't all I've done, but yeah, that's what I have so far. And excited to keep working on it and get it fully onto the web. I'm kind of like very indecisive with it, so I end up changing a lot of things around. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Dylan. I know you were having a battle with Simplist over like the past couple of weeks, so yeah, great job getting that up. I like that when you presented this, you mentioned the ongoing story of like, oh, I liked it then, but the more I looked at it, like the more I was like not satisfied with it, which is like definitely an ongoing story and like the lifelong saga of design. So that's great. I think you iterated and improved a lot, like in a short amount of time, and you learn really fast. So like even when you were like having this trouble with Simplist, like you were able to like get your portfolio up really fast. And like, I mean, 2 weeks ago, you basically like didn't have any of that. So like, that's really, really cool. I also like that you're not stuck to like your work and you're open to changing it at like any time, and you're always like trying to improve it and like iterate on it. I think that's really valuable. And your portfolio looks really good because I think you just kind of like whittled it down to like the most important components, so that people can like navigate it easily and can just like find the information that they need. So I think it looks great. Awesome job.
Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, did I create a thread? Yes, I did. Okay, moving to Joanne.
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joanne Brina. And first off, I wanted to show my first Build Week project, which is Water My Plants. It's an app for creating a plant watering schedule to remind users to water their plants. So I was thinking Trello, but for plants. And this was a time when I was mad about gradients. And as you can see, the gradient is a little bit shocking. So it made it look really busy, and it made it seem like there's a lot going on, and it takes away the focus from the cards. But enough with that, because I don't want to see that anymore. Moving on with my portfolio, I started with a mid-fidelity mockup. So I just wanted to get the content and the design and the layout down. But I really wanted it to be simple and easy to read. So as you can see, I have this illustration right here. I commissioned my friend, who is a fantastic artist, to make me an illustration, and she did an excellent job. She actually made me look 10 times better. So now I'm like striving to look like my illustration, but I'm not sure if I can even get to that point. Anyway, so then I started experimenting with like the colors and the font pairings and the general flow. So I made a lot of like different iterations with different colors. I chose a sans serif font for both the headings and the body font because of the aesthetic that I was going for. And then I decided to change the font because it's just easier to read and it's not too wide. And if I do like a side by side comparison, um, you can see the changes that I made. So this was the version 1 of the live site that I made, and the one on the right is the one that I am using right now. So this is the live version. So having the UVP bigger, it's just easier to read, and I also made like the illustration kind of look like a logo, and to draw more attention to the call of action at the bottom. Because over here, it it's just like too small, and the I was just using like words for the links for LinkedIn and Medium, which is not really, it doesn't catch the attention. So I just made sure that since I coded it from scratch, I made sure that it's fully responsive and that it looks good on any device. So this actually drove me a little bit crazy. Like in the middle of it, I was kind of like um, regretting that I coded it from scratch, but I did learn a lot. I got to practice a lot of HTML and CSS, so that was a good experience. And then for my case study, I used my problem statement as the title of my case study, and if you just like read the headings, so project background, the big RV picture, and so on. If you read the headings, you can pretty much like get the flow of the story. And I use a lot of illustrations and images, so the texts are not in like big blocks, so it's easier to digest. And then going back to the homepage, um, actually no, the about page. So I haven't done a lot with the about page. It's kind of boring right now because it's just text and there's just the illustration on the left. Um, so I'm still gonna iterate on this one. And then for my resume, I just kind of like match the look and feel of the website. So I think um, I really learned a lot during IS, but I think that the most important lesson that I learned is like how to communicate what kind of designer I am, not only through visuals, but also through my design process and how I come up with solutions. So moving forward, I think that I'm really gonna focus on content and how I tell my story because ultimately that's what people will remember. Also asking for feedback helped me get unstuck, and the more revisions that I do, I think that the better it gets. So that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Joanne. You made a ton of progress in such a short amount of time. I mean, I think you just have a knack for like taking feedback. Like, I feel like whenever I would give you like any small piece of feedback, like you would do that and then like 100 times more. Like you would just take that little piece of feedback and just apply it to like everything in your portfolio, which is like cool. Like I don't know, like it's like you really have a knack for that. I think you're very talented. What was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, you coded your portfolio from scratch, which is like very cool. And I think the responsiveness looks great. So it definitely paid off. Like however much sweat and tears you put into that, it definitely paid off. It looks really good. I also like how in your case study, you like focus a lot on storytelling and you put a lot of like images and like diagrams to break up your text so that people can follow your story better. I also think that like with just like the visual like vibe you chose, like the illustration that you have of yourself. You've kind of like made yourself into like a brand almost, which is really cool, and I'm excited to see where that goes. You just have like a really unique story, and I'm really excited to see what you do next. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joanne. So yes, there's a thread. I know, I'm also in awe, Nilba. Okay, cool. I think that might have been it, unless anyone else wants to present. Okay.